Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fridays at 4 on twitch.tv/DDO stream. I'm your community manager, Cordovan, and I'm running a few minutes late today. It's been a really busy latter half of the week, so uh, just have to bear with me. But I'm here now. I'm here. It's Fridays at 4-ish, and I've got some news. I'm going to be running some Vecna quests later, and really just getting caught up on a busy week ahead of another busy week. And we have a lot that we're doing. And we'll have some information about that here during the stream here today. First thing I'd probably mention is that the raid got its second preview on Lamania this week. We also had some updates to the raid loot. I can put up a general thing here. That's my game cam. Oh, let me switch to this. There we go. That'll work better. Hopefully everyone can hear me alright. Sounding alright. I didn't check my audio level before I went live. That's my fault. So we do have some bug fixes that went into the preview this week. Now this patch is not set for release next week. Potentially the week after that. We'll have more information about the exact timing of it, including the release notes as we get closer to it. But the new raid won't debut next week, but it's possible that it'll debut the week after that in Update 61 Patch 1. Which is something that we're also working toward, that some of these release notes or changes and fixes and such will also be getting in to that. But we do have an issue with the duplicate missing saga with Vecna Unleashed, some loading screens, DM text, and what have you. Some fixes to icons in Vistani, Rapid Slash, Blessed Blade now respecting their proper weapon type and scaling with attack speed. Fixed an issue where the timeout on the run behavior for some, ranged casters, AI was being ignored. Made them keep running away past their intended behavior in many situations. And then we also have tweaks. This is the Lamania preview to the raid itself, which is still being called Let's Not Stand On Ceremony. I don't know if that's going to be the name we ship with or if it's going to get a new name, but we'll find that out here in the coming weeks. So that's really what happened on Lamania this week, and a few other bits of news as well. I myself was actually out for most of this week. I just got back into the office yesterday, and today have been quite busy, so I'm a little behind on a few things that happened this week. But I've had a day now, so I'm getting caught up as to everything that has transpired this week. I did want to announce that we have a pretty cool promo that's going to be kicking off next week, and that is this. Free daily gold rolls for VIPs. Yeah. So we're going to be starting on September 8th and then running through October 10th. If you're a VIP, you're going to get daily gold rolls. We're still working on our wider VIP update, but this is something we're doing anyway between now and then, and so we'll see kind of when all this other work ends up getting done. But for now, we're doing a special promo September 8th through October 10th. If you're VIP, you're going to get daily gold rolls in DDO. And for those of you who do play both games, by the way, we're also doing it on the Lord of the Rings online side for those who are curious. I would also mention, I think technically it might really kick off sometime during the afternoon of the 7th. We'll see. We listed 8 as our actual start date because we want it to be the first full day rather than worrying about what time of day it is. But I think it might actually be kicking in on the 7th for those who really want to min-max. But that's cool promo that we've been able to announce this week. The other thing I really want to mention is that we have a real decent boost this weekend, not just for people who are impacted by a recent bug, but everyone else as well. And that is through September 4th. So through Monday, being shut off on Tuesday AM, we have Eastern Time, we have got plus 100% guild renown active in the game. This is to give a bit of a nudge to people who found themselves there was a specific issue, 2 weeks ago now or so, where level 200 guilds found themselves level 199 after a patch that we had released, and it was some kind of weird halo effect of the patch process that went slightly awry. Although guild decay is whatever, but anyway, some people lost a whole bunch of guild renown enough to get level 199 from 200. So those folks can hopefully use this to get back to where they are if they're not already, and then everyone else can benefit from this as well. So we got a pretty sweet bonus here going through the, for some people, extended holiday weekend. I would also mention that we did release update 61.0.2 this week. We ended up releasing this on Thursday. Yeah, I got back into the office and suddenly found myself mid-patch. That happened. But there we are. And so we have the release notes. And I did just, within the last hour or two, make a few additions to the notes here that I can call out. There was a few of the changes didn't make it into the notes while I was away, and so I corrected that this afternoon. But of particular note is that the rewards for the heroic Vecna Unleashed saga have been updated. For the +1 skill tomes are now +2, and the XP reward for all difficulties has been increased to the following: normal 21, well, you can read it, normal 21k, hard 29, elite 45, true elite 59. And that went in yesterday. The other thing that went in, and this is one of the things I just added, is we fixed an issue where the saga rewards, the heroic saga rewards, were on a 100-hour cooldown. So that should no longer be an issue. Also in Devils to Pay, we corrected an issue where some monsters couldn't be targeted during combat. Bearded Devil teleportation is no longer causing the boss to halt in the final battle. Opening a door without speaking to the quest givers no longer potentially breaking Devils to Pay. We fixed an issue with optional chests in the entrance of Vecna Unleashed. They now properly unlock. The end chest and turn the page is now correct. Undead are now no longer healed by positive energy. An Emerald Claw Warden, an enemy of the enemies, no longer incorrectly set to undead. 2 levers now unlock in Grand Theft Arion after defeating all the enemies. The Baylor no longer likes to T-pose occasionally. The hireling vendor Caracol in Moorgrave Upper Commons now has hirelings at the proper level. Randall Lyric now has his proper pack-specific materials in his trades. Melee Vistani knife fighter attacks now require their proper weapons, and Vecna Unleashed artifacts are now properly bound to character. Sorry. That's what we got done this week. I would also quick point out a little promo time here. Got a couple of things happening in terms of the sales this week. So double bonus points we have active through September 10th. Also, Autos boxes available through September 10th. Heroic Epic Improved. So, if you're interested, if you've been waiting, this is the time to do it. Now through September 10th on both double bonus points and Autos boxes. I know some people like to wait until double bonus points, either to purchase the points for their upcoming autos, or wait until they're both on sale, so you can kind of get yourself a little bit of a de facto discount, as it were. I think I, real quick here, covered the news. Let me take a look at chat, see what's up. There was a red-named NPC missing from the second chest that is now back in place that unlocks the second chest. Yeah. Do we have a general target date for the new VIP stuff? No. We have a lot of work that our engineers are doing right now, including a lot of game performance-related tasking, and this is going to have to fit into that overall scope of work. So I don't have a ETA on the VIP stuff. No, it was not actually a vacation this week. I had some stuff I had to do. Personal life stuff. Johnny, I have heard that augments are not in some cases working in your Artificer Iron Defenders. I had thought I had seen a release note recently on that, but it sounds like maybe there's a specific issue with the strength augment not properly showing on the status panel. I don't know if that's... You're saying you can't open the Tempest Spine lever that you used to be able to with your dog, maybe related to that augment issue. I do need a vacation. I would love to take an actual vacation here sometime. Alas, that was not this week. 'Twas not. Okay, so the other thing I would mention is that... So, I mentioned that not next week, potentially the week after, would be Update 61 Patch 1 and 61.1, however you want to call it. And that is intended to include the new raid. I would also point out that after that, starting on Thursday, September 14th, we're going to be bringing back Crystal Cove. That'll get its typical 2-weekend run. So it'll debut on the 14th and run through the 26th of September. I don't think we have new items in Crystal Cove, but it's back for those who want to run it. And then Night Revels isn't actually all that far away either. But I would also mention that later this month, this will be after the raid gets released, so after 61.1 is released, we're going to start doing Lamanias for the next thing. So that could happen later in September here as well, where we start to do our preview of something I am deliberately not saying too much about. And from what I hear, we might not even completely say too much about it on Lamania. You'll see it, but you won't necessarily see how it fits into things. And that's deliberate. And we'll have more information, so I'm less cryptic as we get closer to that. Probably when it actually hits Lamania later this month. Yeah, I think that's it. So let me swap over to the game here. Get my sound up a little bit. I'm in Vecna Unleashed. Giving myself some buffs. And we'll see how I do.
You've traveled down to the foundations of Morgrave University's tower to deal with the Codex of the Infinite Planes. Plan to use the Inkwell of Orion to erase the artifact's evil intelligence. You apply the magical ink to the Codex. The massive tome suddenly begins to shudder and shake. Then the book settles into an eerie silence. But before you can congratulate yourself on your success, a chilling laugh fills the room.
Do I prefer Frogo over Darling? I don't know if I could say that yet. I've just gotten so used to summoning Frogo that I just did that.
And now it is within my grasp. Thank you, hero, for leading me to it. Its power is exactly what I require for my plans. You've even robbed the Codex of its troublesome sentience, so it can no longer resist or evade me. In return for this service, I offer some advice. Flee this tower immediately. My underlings are conducting a ritual that will bring it crumbling to the ground within minutes. Think of Morgrave's destruction as a message to this arrogant city. Vecna has arrived. The Codex vanishes. The ethereal form of Vecna remains, curious to see how you react. The answer is obvious. Countless people in the University Tower will die if you don't act now.
Oh, right.
You must stop the ritual.
I don't think this thing will be impacted. Oh, the...
There's a massive demon. The Baylor eyes you skeptically.
I have more pressing business above. Minions, deal with this.
Sorry, Frogo.
Portal blocking your path fades away.
I like it. Rock and roll is good. These hirelings are really not gonna cut it, are they? I am in on Elite, by the way. Is there a vendor that sells quarterstaffs? Gosh. I would try some of the, what are they called? The special weapons, the weapons vendors that have the stuff, in addition to the auction houses. I think that's where I'd recommend you go. So we did a shorter hardcore season of 60 days, if you'll recall, Johnny. That was not that long ago. And I think the player feedback on us going 60 days was somewhat mixed, in fact. Some players thought it was fine. But I think in general, people preferred the 90 days. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I guess if anyone in chat disagrees, let me know. But that was my experience in terms of the feedback was, in general, people liked the 90 better. So, using IP-based deities, Nymphin, to your question about bringing, say, the gods from another game that came out fairly recently, just recently, bringing them to our game is a different conversation. You know, they have nothing to do with us, we have nothing to do with them. And that same goes for, like, usage rights and things like that. So, theoretically, we could ask, you know, the license holder to bring deities to the game, and we have, you know, we've got several up to, and other NPCs like the Traveler here. But in terms of, well, one game got to have X creatures, so then every game can. That it's not actually how it works that way. Yeah, so there were some people who liked the 60-day thing. Now that was not a, I mean, it was a regular hardcore season, but it was a somewhat less active hardcore. It was a redux or whatever you want to call it, where we brought back an older season and did it for 60 days, as opposed to say a full season, which tends to be about roughly exactly 90. I don't know that I actually feel that strongly about the different deities of Dungeons & Dragons. I don't know that I really have much of an opinion as to what we should bring to the game. Whatever's appropriate for the content is what I'd say. And whatever the rest of the team wants to do is probably cool with me. Like, I mean, I like the Lord of Blades, but I hear he's already in the game, so... In several places, in fact.
Restro Falls. Portal slammed shut. You can now access the lower university stairway.
Because, like, I mean, I don't... So, when I'm playing... Historically, when I've played tabletop, even when I've been in a canonical setting, and that is pretty rare, I usually just do my own thing for almost the entirety of my D&D history. But there have been times where, I've been in Forgotten Realms or Greyhawk or whatever. Even then, I tend to be pretty fast and loose with who does what and all that sort of thing, so... I don't know that I've actually played with a lot of gods in any of my campaign games. It's true, I am punishing the hirelings here today, aren't I? We will have more information about our next hardcore, at some point here soon, although we've got a pretty busy couple of months, so I'm not actually sure when the next hardcore is going to be quite yet. Let me check something. Okay. What I should really do is just
magically whispers in your ear. There are students
leave the hirelings back a little bit for combat. That would be helpful.
Save them.
Like you, Bulwark. I'm going to send you back here.
We could do better. I'm taking
Oh, what do you want me to talk about? Guess I'm open to suggestion. I know that we're on the cusp of saying a whole bunch of things. I don't know if I want to drop it on the stream today, though, and steal someone else's thunder. Well, I guess I would just say that, you know, Vecna Unleashed has been out for a little while yet. You know, now. And there are some things that I think we're getting ready to state that perhaps hasn't been picked up yet. Yeah, so the idea of having Sev on has been pretty organic. Like, we haven't set anything in stone or, like, added it to a calendar or anything like that. It's all just been like, hey, we should do that. Yeah, we should totally do that. Well, we should totally do that. So we will be getting Sev on here in the coming weeks to talk a little bit about some of the, perhaps, game performance. Maybe we can have him talk a little bit about that VIP stuff and just do a general Q&A with the community to get a sense of what, you know, what's up.
You hear a faint whimpering coming from the front of the lecture hall.
Watch it! You're no good to be dead. Retreat!
Snothics are pretty tough. I had put out a social media tweet because I had what I thought was a pretty cool picture of a Varrock. And I was like, is the Varrock the hardest monster, the hardest new monster in Vecna Unleashed? And I think the overall consensus from the social media community, the X/Facebook community, has been that no, as a matter of fact, the most difficult monster we added to the game here with the release of Vecna Unleashed are these folks, these Nothics. And I could see that too. Ooh. See, this is why I die on stream, because I don't pay attention to my own health enough. Alright. Alright.
A portal materializes, releasing a swarm of Gretchen.
Bulwark and Frogo, you're out of spell points. You were of no... Well, Frogo didn't have any to begin with, but Bulwark, for example. You're out of spell points, dude. I ain't spending any time healing. Sorry. The other thing I would mention, I haven't mentioned it to the show yet, but if you haven't been noticing, we did debut our first episode of The Joy of Devon with Bob Hess. That debuted yesterday, and just this afternoon we were able to get it on YouTube, get the archived version going. So you can take a look at that on YouTube. A little easier to watch as an archive than on Twitch, perhaps. And then every 2 weeks, we're going to be doing another one through the creation of this dungeon, probably something like early mid-December. And then this dungeon's actually going to be getting a release here, too, in the near future. So, overall, pretty exciting stuff. This was Nobob's first time, really, streaming. So, he's done a few streams before, but not a ton. And so... I would expect, to see him get more comfortable with it here in the future, but it went really well, and hopefully people like it. I know you will, because it's really good behind-the-scenes info. You actually got to see World Builder, you got to see some of the terminology, hear about the CDBs and the WCs, and got to see kind of how an actual NPC is made. There was an interesting thread on the forum saying, well, after watching that stream, I really want us, they were telling us, to do like a create NPC competition. And perhaps that's something we could do in the future. Although, if you watch the video, you'll know that we tend to have a pretty preset number of options that we can pick from. So I'm not sure that designing an NPC is necessarily going to accomplish all the goals. But it's cool anyway. Well, we could do something like that. Bit of a choose-your-own-adventure set of options and things. That would be fun. To be able to Bitmoji yourself into DDO. That'd be sweet. Sort of do some kind of scan of your picture and we can create an NPC for you. That would be awesome. That'd be amazing. Come on, Pierre Frogo. Let's have you earn your keep. No, I would say it's nothing like that. It's more about Vecna Unleashed. Yeah, well, I am leaving it to you. Except that it ain't working. Well, let me see if I can just do it. There we go. Those daily dice. I just collect those daily dice.
Fast legs feed the wolf, not a full backpack.
Bells of opening. Every time they're available. And I just always take them. And then every now and then when I run into a thing where, like, you know, Frogo's like, you know, I could, but, yeah. It's an emotional moment for me. I'm kind of stressed out. How about you do it?
Your companion died.
I can just pull out one of the bells of opening and not have to worry. Oh. By the way, Cord, there's been a lot of talk on the forums. It's a fairly vague statement. Yes. I guess, depending on how you want to quantify a volume of text input, there has been a lot of talk on the forums. But about what, is the question. No. Yes. Oh, you have heard that people have had some issues making purchases in the DDO store. So, over the past 2 weeks or so, we have done a series of deployments behind the scenes involving the store to hopefully resolve the vast majority of the issues that can be resolved. And everything else is just going to have to get sorted through the ticketing system.
The dead feel no shame.
And so they'll deal with a lot of people on an individual basis, and then some of the systemic things involving Steam showing up on non-Steam clients, not being able to purchase on Steam through a Steam client, and there were a handful of other things that were causing problems. Should be largely corrected at this point. And there are still some people who need manual assistance for various flavors of their form of the issue. But a lot of things should be resolved. And then there are still going to be some changes, some persistent issues due to the overall changes in the store. And I'm going to get into that here in just a minute, once I catch my virtual breath, as it were. But, so yeah, let me actually do that now. So, one of the things that we have had to do is improve our anti-fraud detection, and how that is hitting people who aren't engaging in that kind of behavior is that some folks who previously were able to make a purchase, say, while traveling, and such, now are running into an issue. And some of that is not something that we're able to adjust. And specifically, the people who are going to be impacted by that are those who are traveling cross-country. So essentially, if your payment method, geographic location, and IP range, and things like that shows a mismatch, it'll reject the payment. And some of those are things that, you know, we've been able to tweak on our end to make improvements in, but some of them are just more secure payment processing related troubles, essentially. So I guess the overall advice that I would have to people is that if you want to alleviate, you know, some of the payment issues that are happening, make sure that your IP address, your billing address, your billing country, and the same things for your payment source are aligned. So, for example, if your billing country is different from the geolocation where the payment source is coming from, that is something that will likely fail. I know in particular because we have some somewhat techier people that use DDO, we have a little bit more VPN use, for example, than perhaps might be higher than the average. And if that VPN use is listing your IP address as being in a different geolocation than where you actually reside, that could, in fact, cause a payment failure. And there's really not, I mean, we could become less secure, but that's not really what we're able to do. So, part of the more robust anti-fraud measures we have in place are the cause of a few of these issues, sadly. But it is also something that I'm not sure we're really going to be able to, you know, fix universally. So some of it may be a bit of a change in pattern. Now, what I've been getting, you know, a lot of PMs since August 3rd related to store issues and things like that, forwarding a ton of tickets over to the platform team, the engineers, and other folks who have been working on the updated stores. I guess they went to both games at the same time. And one of the things I have most commonly run into is that, where people are on vacation trying to use something, a different geolocation than it might otherwise do. But if you're using a VPN that says you're coming from Germany and you're in Delaware, that will likely fail. And the only real solution to that is to make sure you're using a VPN that is not obscuring your geolocation. Oh, I know what I was going to say. The other thing I was going to say, though, is that typically for users who have been in that state, one of the things that they've been able to do that in some cases has helped resolve their issue for them is to try using, like, PayPal or something instead. If like your card is getting rejected, maybe try PayPal. See if that one works for you. And I do know that we have additional work being done on the stores related to payment processing and things like that as well. But the vast majority of the work that we can do has been done by this point.
Master, send me aid so that I may do your bidding.
Not good.
Oh, that's totally the wrong place. Really should have shrunk before I did this. We got to face all these Nothics without any spell points. Well, maybe I should chuck everything. Oops. Don't do that. Don't do what I do. The Cordovan teaching method. Look what I do, and then don't do that. Well, that's fine, because I'm not particularly fond of being dead.
Did you think you were going to live forever? Let's get back out there.
Do I think I'm going to live forever? I think everyone knows the answer to that. No, is the answer. I don't know that I can really comment on any of the specifics of upcoming class tweaks. I know that the team is working on a bunch of different things. And they've been working on a bunch of different things for a while now. And the order of sort of preview and release is really going to depend on a whole bunch of factors that are somewhat unknown at the moment. So I do think, you know, we're going to see additional kind of meta work and class work here in the coming months, and at least over the next year or so, I would think. And we'll learn more about it, but I don't want to say announce a date. Yes, next will be, I don't know, Archmage or whatever, because we just don't have that kind of, we're doing this and then we're doing this and we're doing this. We've got a bunch of things that we're working on, and they're going to release in when they're ready at the various releases. But I know, for example, we're working on melee, we're working on non-melee, we're working on casters. So, pretty much everybody, in some way, shape, or form, falls into that bucket.
The Archmage falls. You've thwarted the ritual and saved Morgrave. Then a massive crash rocks the tower, followed by a monstrous roar.
I envy you,
Still
soldier.
the Baelor to
You
contend
get to
with.
sleep after all you've done.
But I don't know what the timeline is on this. It could be that some of this is 2024 stuff that's already being sort of planned and worked on and considered as well. So I wouldn't want to even hint as to any kind of timeline of when we might do something.
To your surprise, Baelor is locked in combat with a large red dragon. Unable to defeat the dragon, Baelor teleports away. The dragon looks rather pleased with itself. You suddenly realize it's wearing a familiar green hat.
I too like that gold mechanical owl pet. Plus, I like it on this character in particular because I use a lot of debuffs on this. Because I've really liked my improved Domain of Death with that negative energy blast, and I like to use Symbol of Death as well. So since I'm going woo, woo, for whatever reason, this owl seems to be the most appropriate.
We both know this
Dragon
will end in violence.
turns out to be the trickster
Ready,
god, the
soldier?
Traveler. He congratulates you on saving
That worked
Morgrave
out pretty good.
and invites you to help him defeat Vecna.
I don't actually have any my Vecna weapon or anything at this point. I suppose I could probably do that. Get one. So yes, Crystal Cove will be coming soon. I believe I had a date I announced earlier. Yes, so it is set to debut on Thursday, September 14th, and run through September 26th. The Traveler as a deity choice would be a lot of fun. That would be pretty cool. I like it. See, I don't want to repeat that quest. Alright. I already did that one. We're up to the next set. So... Oh, maybe... Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. I see where I'm at. I've already run this series, and I'm restarting it. I was wondering about why that was the way it was. So we just have 4 minutes here, so probably not time to really run another quest here. So let's see. There we go. So this character is currently using, the dinosaur bone longsword, and I kind of like where it is right now. It works for my character. I'm pretty happy with it. So gives me negative spell power, so a little bit of negative healing amp, PRR, warded against hamstrings with the Snow Peaks gift. +1 imbue dice, a little bit of light spell power because I also been using a lot of light spells, as you see. And generally up my spell power, DCs, a little bit more wisdom and vulnerability, which helps me. And then I got my Ruby of Nullification and Ruby of Acid in there for a purple. I should really get another piece, though, shouldn't I? So I can get that +2 DCs to my Necromancy. And immune to most forms of slow. But that would be valuable. Hello again. Because right now, although this is pretty cool, I don't know that's really going to compete with that. So, we'll see. We'll see. At least for now. But that's where I'm at, I guess, today. So, maybe I will wrap it up a few minutes early. I don't know. Could mention Bob's stream again. Go check it out on YouTube if you haven't. Turn down the audio. And we'll be back in the 2 weeks from yesterday with the next episode. We're actually going to do some early dungeon development. The first one was really focused on what we're doing, the process, why it happened. And there we go. And this next one we're going to actually start getting into making the dungeon. All right. Well, yeah, I do think that's going to wrap it up for me. I'm going to get back to some other work. So thanks very much for watching. Fridays at 4 on twitch.tv/DDOstream. I'll be back next Friday with more. We will have Sev on here in the coming weeks. Probably, maybe next Friday. Depends. Maybe Friday after that. We'll announce it on the forums and elsewhere whenever the time comes. We're kind of playing it a little fast and loose there. Depends on what his timing's like, my timing's like, and what we can pull together in the midst of a pretty busy schedule. So hope you're enjoying Vecna Unleashed. Hope you enjoy that 100% Guild Renown boost through Monday. I'll talk to you all again soon. Bye-bye.